Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Tino's Time Wrestling. And on this episode, we are going to give you a full recap of all the action that went down last night at NXT Wargames. And what a pay-per-view it was. It lived up to the hype, and it was non-stop action. So let's not waste any time, and let's get right into the results of everything that went down. And NXT Wargames started off with the women's Wargames match. It was Toxic Attraction and Dakota Kai versus Io Shirai, Raquel Gonzalez, Kaylee Ray, and Cora Jade. And this match was just phenomenal. We saw Kaylee Ray and Dakota Kai start the match. It was phenomenal. Cora Jade came in the match. Remember, if you listen to my pre-show, like I told you, there was a 5-minute interval where the Kaylee Ray and Dakota Kai beat each other up, and then every 3 minutes somebody new from the team would enter that won the advantage, which was Kaylee Ray's team a few weeks ago on NXT in that ladder match. So Cora Jade came out, and these women just beat the living hell out of each other. Then we saw Gigi get involved. She brought in some weapons. She brought in some steel trash cans. It was awesome. Then we saw Io Shirai come in 3 minutes later, and these women just continued to beat the crap out of each other. It was beautiful. Then we saw Gacy Jane can't come in, and then we saw Raquel Gonzalez come in, and these women just continued to beat the hell out of each other. It was awesome to see. We don't want to go into everything that happened. Nobody wants to hear me yap about all the things that happened in the match. If you want to watch the match, go watch it on Peacock right now. It was awesome. It's just one of those things. We saw Cora Jade. She did a Swanton Bomb type of a move off of the War Games cage, and not table. My bad. She did a Swanton Bomb on the Gacy Jane. It seemed like, I don't know what you want to call it, but she popped her shoulder out, and then Io Shirai popped her shoulder back in, and it seemed like, it was one of those things. I was worried she was actually hurt at first, but thank God she actually was not, and, get better, and hopefully that injury isn't that serious. But then Mandy Rose, the NXT Women's Champion, came in. She had to enter last, of course, because she's the most, best NXT Women's Champion ever. And yeah, so she entered last. And then finally, War Games began. Because remember, War Games cannot officially begin until all 8 women or men are involved. So once a War Games officially began, these women destroyed each other with tables, ladders, chairs, trash cans, everything, kendo sticks, a baseball bat Kaylee Ray brought in. It was just awesome to see. It was phenomenal, and it was a great match. This match lasted 31 minutes, and it was just phenomenal. Like I said, if you haven't and you missed it, that's what I'm here for. And if you get a chance after work, go and watch it on Peacock. It was phenomenal. In the end, though, Cora Jade rolled up Gacy Jane, and she picked up the 1, 2, 3. Everybody was laid out, and I don't know what was going on. I don't know if everybody was just relaxing, but Cora Jade saw the opportunity, and she pinned Jane for the 1, 2, 3, and she picked up the win for her team, and they won War Games. Io Shirai, Raquel Gonzalez, Kaylee Ray, and Cora Jade. These women, like I said, all of them put on an absolute show, and they deserve to have the moment. And this was a great way to start off War Games. We talk about it. War Games is one of the best pay-per-views of the year, and there's so much brutality with the 2 rings and everything. It was just awesome to see. But after we saw Cora Jade's team win the match and go on, and we saw a couple things happen. We saw that weird thing with the Japanese guy. I don't know what he's doing, but let him do what he wants to do. The next match on the card, I don't want to get into all that. The next match on the card was the Tag Team Championship match with Imperium versus Kyle O'Reilly and Wagner. And this match was really good. This match was, I wasn't expecting too much, and this was a match that I was thinking that could very well be a very good match, and that, could easily steal the show. possibly, or just depending on how it was. And this wasn't a bad match, it lasted 14 minutes, and it was given a good amount of time. And, Imperium and Kyle O'Reilly and even Von Wagner showed that, Von Wagner he probably will be, let's be real, people, he probably will be a big superstar in down the road. Vince loves his big men, so Von Wagner will hopefully be. Hopefully we'll see what happens with Von Wagner. But anyway, this match, it was good. We saw some good moments and some bad moments. It was what it was. But in the end, Imperium did the Imperium bomb onto Kyle O'Reilly, and they ended up picking up the win and keeping their NXT Tag Team Championships. But honestly, what happened after the match was honestly a little bit more entertaining than the match. Not that the match wasn't bad. I just thought that what happened after the match was pretty good. There's been rumors with Kyle O'Reilly possibly leaving. Like, there's rumors with Johnny Gargano that he signed a 1 year, or not a 1 year, a 1 week contract to continue and fight tonight at Wargames, last night at Wargames. And we'll have to see. But Kyle O'Reilly was standing there, and then Von Wagner tried to come after him, but Kyle O'Reilly was able to stop him. And then we saw later on in the pay-per-view that Kyle O'Reilly challenged Von Wagner to a steel cage match. And I don't know if that is accepted. I don't know if that is official. But once we get to the NXT preview, I'll give you my winner and who I think is going to win that match. But it looks like Kyle O'Reilly will at least be around until at least Tuesday, so that's good. Hopefully we'll see Johnny Gargano after his War Game match that we'll get into a little bit later on. But before we get into the War Games men's match, let's talk about the hair versus hair match between Duke Hudson and Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes, take it to the moon and back, has been one of my favorites, and to be honest, I would really love to see Cameron Grimes and Happy Corbin be a tag team because they're kind of doing the same type of thing, and it would just be great to see. Duke Hudson, he's a really good wrestler, and I really enjoyed everything that I've seen with him and everything that he's doing in the ring. It's just one of those things that I know they're going to get better and better every single week. And these two put on a really good show for 10 minutes. It was entertaining. I laughed. It was entertaining. And I was hoping to see somebody get their head shaved. In the end, Grimes. Cameron Grimes ended up picking up the win and rolling up Duke Hudson and grabbing onto his tights, and the referee didn't see it. Duke Hudson tried to do it earlier on, and the ref saw it, but the ref didn't catch Cameron Grimes, and Cameron Grimes won, and he picked up the 1, 2, 3, and Cameron Grimes won. And I was ready to see Duke Hudson get his head shaved, and Duke Hudson, he thought he'd be swag, and he thought he would take out Cameron Grimes, and he was like, Cameron Grimes, you might win the match, but I'm going to shave you. But Cameron Grimes said, no way, Jose, and then he took Duke Hudson, and then he ended up shaving his head, but he only gave him he gave him like a buzz cut. He didn't shave his head bald. I wanted to see full-blown, bald. Okay, you don't want to see me bald, but you know what I mean, bald. Oh my god, my hair is a mess now. But, you know what I mean, that's what I wanted to see. But anyway, Duke Hudson got his head buzzed, not shaved completely, but the match was good and it was entertaining, and then watching Cameron Grimes do things always, and then shaving Duke Hudson's head was entertaining too. So that's what it was, and we'll have to see what happens on Tuesday. If Duke Hudson shows his face, if he shaves his head, maybe he'll fix his hair. We'll have to see. But after we saw the hair versus hair match, it was on to the Cruiserweight Championship match between Joe Gacy, a.k.a. Kevin Owens' little brother. Every time I see Joe Gacy, people, I think of Kevin Owens' little brother or something. I don't know. He just looks like Kevin Owens to me. I could be wrong, but that's what Joe Gacy reminds me of. Versus Roddy Strong, the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. And yeah, I said Cruiserweight Championship. Joe Gacy isn't no Cruiserweight. Let's be real, people. Nothing against you, Joe Gacy, but I thought there was a weight limit. I thought it was 120 or something like that the Cruiserweights had to be. But I guess anybody can compete in the Cruiserweight match now, right? This match didn't last too long. And Joe Gacy got involved with the Bron, the Brock Lesnar lookalike that shaved his head. I don't know what he was doing. And then the Diamond Mine girl got involved. And it was it was what it was. And it was kind of it was one of those matches that it was like a watch match. Everybody was kind of like exhausted from War Games still, and hair versus hair, because that was entertaining. And not that these two don't deserve the time, and they do, but it was only 8 minutes. And then in the end, Rodrick Strong hit the back breaker, and he ended up picking up the win and keeping the Cruiserweight Championship. And Joe Gacy, we'll have to see what he does, and I'm sure he'll try to get his stable, and I'm sure he'll try to get a rematch on Tuesday, and we'll have to see. But Rodrick Strong, picked up the win and kept his Cruiserweight Championship. And after 3 matches, one War Games match where 8 women destroyed each other, it was time for the main event, NXT 2.0 versus NXT Originals, Black and Gold. And it was Bron Breakker, Grayson Waller, Carmelo Hayes, and Tony D'Angelo versus Tommaso Ciampa, LA Knight, Pete Dunne, and Johnny Gargano. And this rivalry and this build-up has been absolutely phenomenal. And it's something that I really didn't think we were going to see, because, it's one of those things that I never like to get my hopes up, especially with WWE, because we always get let down. But at least we know with NXT, it's in good hands with Shawn Michaels, the HBK. He's a sexy boy. But yeah, HBK, Shawn Michaels is in charge of NXT. So we knew it was going to be good, and they did not disappoint at all. These 8 men put on an absolute show. Carmelo Hayes, he wanted to start off the match, and he wanted to do his thing, and he wanted to be the one to last, and he wanted to be the guy and the Iron Man to last War Games. So he started off for NXT 2.0. Then Johnny Gargano, he started off for NXT Black and Gold. And when Johnny Gargano came out to the ring, he closed his eyes, and it just seems like he took a moment to reminisce. And there's rumors that this could be his last night, and that his contract expires, and that he just signed a 1-week contract extension so then he could fight in War Games. And if that is the case and we don't see Johnny Gargano, thank you, Johnny Gargano, for everything you have done. From your boy Tino, from everybody here at Tino's Time Wrestling. We've watched you from your beginnings, and it would be great to see what you have to do in your future, and hopefully you stay in NXT and you can figure out something to do, and you and Candice can stay, and hopefully you don't go over to AEW like everybody else seems to do. But those two, Carmelo and Johnny, they beat each other up back and forth. Then we saw Grayson Waller get involved. Then we saw Pete Dunne get involved, LA Knight get involved. Then we saw Tony D'Angelo get involved. And it was just, these men just completely beat the crap out of each other. And, like I said, with the women, we don't want to go into everything that happened step by step. If you want to watch these 2 War Games matches, especially, they're only an hour each. They're a half an hour each, and they're only an hour together. So if you have an hour of your spare time, go watch these War Game matches. And if you got 20 minutes, go check out Tino's Time review if you don't want to watch it, because I got you covered. But, these 6 men beat the crap out of each other, and it was beautiful. Then we saw Bron Breakker come in and do his thing, and he led his team, and they were beating the crap out of each other. They brought in chairs, tables, ladders. They brought in everything, trash cans. It was just awesome to see, and it was just brutal. And Johnny Gargano was bleeding within 5 minutes of the match, and that was all the way in the beginning. And this was about 25 minutes in that we're talking about now. That those 7 men were completely beating the crap out of each other. Then finally, the last man to enter for Team NXT Black and Gold was Tommaso Ciampa, and we saw a little bit of a DIY reunion. We thought the finisher, we thought that was going to be the ending. It was going to be a great way to ride off into the sunset for Johnny Gargano, but Bron Breakker and Tony D'Angelo and Grayson Waller said, no, that's not going to happen, and they just took away that moment, and it was not okay. But, we saw Grayson Waller jump off the top. We saw that it was crazy. These 8 men beat the crap out of each other for 38 minutes. Yeah, it was 38 minutes. It was awesome to see, and it was great. These men just beat the crap out of each other. But after 37 plus minutes, absolute chaos, absolute brutality, Bron Breakker picked up the pin over Tommaso Ciampa, and NXT 2.0 won, and they proved that the new school is better than the old school, and that the old guys might have to get out and the new kids are taking over. This match was absolutely phenomenal, and it lived up to what War Games is about. Brutality, ending a rivalry, ending in a phenomenal just build, and it was just awesome. It was great to see it. And, there you have it. We saw 5 great matches, 2 War Games, couple championship matches, hair versus hair, and it was great moments. So what's next after War Games? Now that War Games is in the rearview mirror, we have NXT this Tuesday. We have Zion Quinn versus Santos Escobar. We saw Santos Escobar do a backstage segment at War Games, and he talked about Quinn and how he's going to beat him up and yada, yada, yada. So we'll have to see what happens on Tuesday, but that's going to be a really good match. Is this really the last time we're going to see Johnny Gargano? I really hope not, but like I said a few minutes ago, if it is, Johnny Gargano, thank you for everything, my guy. Von Wagner versus Kyle O'Reilly in a steel cage. We're going to see a steel cage on Monday night tonight with Big E versus Kevin Owens. But then tomorrow night, we get to see Von Wagner versus Kyle O'Reilly. And again, this match isn't official yet, but I'm sure it will be by probably or later on today. Or, I'm sure WWE will put it on their Twitter account eventually. But yeah, so that's what's coming up on NXT. We also got some news that we're going to see NXT, the return of NXT's pay-per-view, New Year's Evil. It's going to be the first Tuesday of the new year, a couple days after day 1-ish. No, it's just day 1, but I just like to say WWE day 1-ish. WWE day 1 pay-per-view on New Year's Day. So that's exciting. We have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. We have Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens versus the WWE Champion Big E. For the WWE Championship, we have a Tag Team Championship with the Usos renewing the rivalry for the 25th time with the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And I'm sure we got so much more action coming your way and more matches being announced. So, there you have it. I gave you a review for NXT Wargames. I recapped all the action. Like I said, if you haven't, go check it out on Peacock. We talked about what's going on for NXT. Some events coming on. This is the last WWE pay-per-view until next year. So, it's sad, but, we got to celebrate Christmas, the holidays, New Year's Eve. But your boy Tino will be back on New Year's Day to get you ready for WWE Day 1. So until then, I hope everybody has a safe and happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. I hope everybody opens their presents and enjoys everything that they get from Santa Claus. And again, until WWE Day 1, this is your boy Tino, signing out.